Hello, everyone. Welcome to Better Talks. I'm here today with two special guests, and I'm gonna allow them to introduce themselves to us.
We're the easy button. We're Sharyn and Hank. That's what our clients call us. They call us their easy button because when it comes to sales or marketing or other challenges, they press it and we solve their issues. It's Hank, Sharyn, Yuloff. Uh, we use the term small business coach, but we're sort of between coaching and consulting because consultants, you pay them and they can't give you an answer, and coaches ask a lot of questions. And we ask our clients a whole lot of questions. The first one is always, what do you want your life to look like? Because that's why we all started our own businesses too. We had a picture in our mind, the ideal life and lifestyle and what we do. And that's where you want to go. So what do you want your life to look like?
We want to craft the life you want, not craft this perfect business because that's what you think you want, and now you have it, and you're like, but now life sucks. We don't want that. Yep. So let's know where the goal is. What do you want life to look like, and then let's help you craft the business that gives you that life.
Yeah, I started the business like 30 years ago, and it wasn't until about 14 years ago that it got really good because I dragged my wife kicking and screaming. Sure. Into the business, and now we each get to work with our best friend, and that's what makes it special.
Wow, it's very lovely to see two amazing couple working together and being passionate about what you guys do. That's very lovely. I'm really impressed to see that.
When you find the real right one in your life, ahead, he said, being positive. Most people, when they are with someone, you have that, how is your day to your conversation? We don't have to have that. We know, my desk, Sharyn kind of tends to work just outside the studio over there. I tend to work just outside our studio over there. And we can each tell how our days are going by the number of times we hear the other one swear.
And how loudly.
Yeah. There's a level, a decibel level. So it is kind of cool that way.
Wow. You didn't ask, but I feel prompted to share with you the very first rule and our primary rule of working together is married first. So we know that in life, in business, there may be a disagreement. There may be, no, I don't see it that way. I think we should do it this way, or I would advise a client this, whatever that is, right? And that's fine if we can keep it to the business. But if it starts to bleed over into our marriage, and now our marriage is having a struggle because of this disagreement, marriage first. I'll tap out. I'll go find a job. I've worked at a job before.
No. I can't. I don't want to do this without you.
So that was cool.
Wow. That's thanks you guys for really sharing this. You mentioned something that is very unique, that you guys tend to focus on the individual entrepreneur or the small business owner rather than the business itself. And which I've realized that most times as entrepreneurs or small business owners, our focus, our attention is solely on the business, but we neglect our own existence. And you mentioned that it's what you want, not what the business wants. So are you saying that what you want will determine what the business wants?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or what the business needs to give you so that you have what you want.
Okay. One of the things about startup business is some people like myself, I'm not very good at marketing. I'm not very good at sales.
Okay, wait. I want you to say that last sentence, but I want you to say up until now before you say it. Okay? Let's try that again. So take two.
Up until now, I am not good at marketing and sales.
There we go. Look, there's a reason. There's a reason for this.
Okay.
When we speak words out loud, our audience is hearing us, but so is our subconscious. And if we say things like, I could never do that, or I'm not good at sales, or we're reinforcing whatever our subconscious hears, it's going to reinforce it. No, you're not. But when you say up until now, I wasn't really good at marketing, you're telling your subconscious, you know what? We have some change that's coming, that we are about to make. Be ready for this change, because now you're good at marketing. You're getting better at marketing every time you do it. So that the words that we speak are very important. We do a marketing boot camp a few times a year, and one of the sections we start with is mindset, and a couple of the slides deal with what are the words that we're speaking.
Even when you're not actually speaking them out loud, right? You're speaking them to yourself silently.
Yeah.
Those are often even more powerful. So we encourage you, your audience, and all of our clients, be your own best friend. Stop being your own worst enemy.
Wow. That's thanks for like mindset. That's really really true. And we get what we believe. If we feel that I'm not gonna be able to make sales because my product sucks or my service has no quality, I've always wondered why there's a link between marketing and sales.
Because if your marketing is spot on, it makes sales so much easier.
I will say, not competitors. There are coaches. There are people out there who talk about a sales funnel.
Yes.
Where at the top, you meet someone, they get in the top of your funnel, and then they get to know who you are, and they compare you to your competitors, and what's the differential, and then there's the sale at the bottom.
Yes.
See, we think of that as two different funnels. There's the marketing funnel, which comes first, where somebody finds out who you are and investigates, and at the bottom of that funnel, instead of it being the sale, it's the, hey, you know what? I'd like to talk to you a little more about your product.
It's the opening to a conversation about sales.
And then they move into the second funnel, which are the steps of sales. So,
and the sale doesn't end at the sale. That funnel doesn't end because you need to continue to, well, you don't need to. We recommend that you continue to follow up with them and maintain that relationship. Because if you end at the sale and that's it, you're not going to get a referral and you're not going to get a repeat customer. So that actually isn't really a funnel that ends at sales and then goes to the sales, but now it starts again to marketing, because now you're marketing again for that repeat customer, the upgraded customer, the referral from that customer.
Or coming back. We have our coaching program is a year-long program, right? When someone comes in, we're with them for a year. And most of the time they renew, but some don't. Okay. They stay on our mailing list. They're in a different part of the mailing list, but
they're segmented.
Yeah, they've already gone through that first funnel. They know who we are. They've already gone into the second funnel. They've purchased. It could have just been, life got in the way. Their business is changing. There any number of different reasons. But we stay in touch with them because it's easier to get them back into the funnel.
Well,
so why would we say goodbye to that relationship?
And like you pointed out at the beginning, right, for us, it's the individual first. So just because they've tapped out for now, we still care about them. They're still on our radar. We still follow them on social media.
Yeah.
We still know we occasionally will get an email that, oh, you know what? Monica would actually really like that. That would be really helpful, and we'll forward it to her. Just because she's no longer a client, we're not going to withhold an email that might be useless. Why would we do that?
So the marketing is that big umbrella that covers it all. And under marketing, you've got advertising and public relations, and all of the different things that go into promoting. But those are the things that help you get into sales.
I mean, well, wow, this is very profound. I mean, most times, when I hear the word marketing, it usually takes away the individual out of the picture. It's mainly trying to make the product looks very nice, like the presentation of the product. But what you guys are saying, that really business is all about people, It starts with people, it ends with people. If you want to, marketing pretty much gives you the way to be able to attract people to be able to buy your product or service. And then the sales is pretty much getting them to actually buy your product or service. I like what she said, that it's just the relationship doesn't just end with the sales. There's after sales, there's after service, that connection. And for me, I'm a big fan of business. It's not just about profit. It's actually about people, which consists of your employees, the management, and the customers, the stakeholders, the suppliers, even your competitors. It's all about people. And if you neglect that human relationship aspect of business, people are gonna feel like you just want to use them. They're just consumers.
That's right. It's just a transaction, right? So
Yes.
we don't recommend that it just be a transaction, right? People still buy from people. We're not at the point yet where bots are buying from bots.
How your bot connect with my bot?
I hope we don't get there.
Our bot will coach your bot to be a better bot. Ooh, that'd be fun. All we can do is have that. We can just set up that sales funnel and just leave.
Wow.
Program the training bot. That was okay. I got it.
So,
one of the oldest sales rules, we make this up. People buy from those they know, love, and trust. And it's why so many, a lot of professions have a bad rap because of the way they do sales. And you can still do what you're doing and know that it's a relationship, and that's part of it. We again in our boot camp, one of the things that we talk about is in that whole process, we each drive a Prius, and we got our very first one in 2002, which was the original style of the Prius. Toyota made it out of the Echo, and they just put a different motor in it.
We still have it. I still drive it.
And a couple of years later, after we had this really great relationship with this car, it's awesome. Has a small, tiny turning radius, and it's great. Mileage was great. We got a letter from Toyota. Hey, we have a new one coming out. Want one? It costs nothing to get on the list. Here are the choices. I mean, and and when we ended up buying the car, I asked the salesperson. I said, "So what happens if we saw this new style? Because it was the style they do now. What if we didn't like it?" And she said, "You know what? It's okay. We just go to the next person on the list." The first several thousand people that bought the next edition were all previous Prius owners. And all Toyota did was leverage their relationship with this cool little, hybrid car and all this huge audience of people into getting the new one started. And now it helps if you have a great product, and they did, and they do. So you said, it isn't just about the product, it's the relationship, but having a really good product and being really good at what you do, that's vitally important, or you're not going to get the opportunity to go back into the marketing and sales funnel.
Except, so there is the other side of that, right? That we all know products that they were the inferior product, but because they had a better marketing channel, they did better, right? VHS and Beta is the one that comes to my mind immediately, because I'm older.
For those of you that are younger, we used to get our entertainment not by just going online, but there was a physical thing that we pushed into another machine. And when you pressed the play button, it ate the tape, and you didn't get to see the show.
I guess the more modern, the more current time example is Samsung and Apple, right? Samsung had a better product sooner. People were standing in line for Apple because they had a better marketing channel. They had a better message to the audience.
Wow.
But Samsung already had everything that Apple was offering. It just that they didn't have as good a marketing channel.
Wow. So which shows that marketing is very, very important and impactful,
Goodness. And most small businesses that are starting don't budget for it.
Oh boy. Oh, so is it because they're just expecting that people will find them and come to their store? Or
they don't know how to budget. They get into the business undercapitalized.
There used to be a time where you could say, this is what I want to do, or this is what I want to sell, and just hang your physical shingle outside the door and people would just show up, right? Those days are long gone. That's interesting. You're going to wander by and see your shingle and wander in. Either physically or digitally, online, it doesn't matter, right? So there does need to be a marketing component. And it's great that you love the thing, whether it's the product or the service. But what we see too often is someone goes into that business because they love the thing, again, product or service, doesn't matter, without testing to see, is there a market for it? No, but yes, they're undercapitalized, but what little capital they had, they poured into this thing, product or service, without testing the market to say, hey, do you all even want this?
We have one of those.
But we did
and we tested it. We had Sharyn has a master's in nonprofit management, and we've been on the board of like a dozen nonprofits. And we came up with a way that nonprofits could generate revenue without doing the two things none of them have the time to do. They don't budget for it, and they don't have the team bandwidth to market the nonprofit. So we figured out a way to solve both of those challenges. And we thought, wow, this is really cool. This is a great idea, and they're going to make lots of money. So we reached out to 12 nonprofits that we have relationships with. We know them.
We can call them on the cell phone, they answer the call, right?
And we presented, we want you to beta test this, as opposed to VHS test it. And all 12 of them said, yeah, we want to do this, and none of them took the action after we got started with it. So we realized there's a disconnect somewhere in how we're promoting or in the product itself. There's a disconnect that we frankly, since we were 0 for 12, didn't bother beta, changing things and go. It's like, okay, at some point maybe we'll retest this and try it, but it's a great idea that doesn't have an audience, and you need to have an audience. You got to figure that out.
Interesting. Wow. So, while we're having this conversation, I just wanted to highlight on product again. The emphasis I've been laying out is just people as well, but then you guys mentioned that the quality of the product is also key. Yes, as much as a business would develop relationship with people, if their product sucks, eventually you're going to lose those people, because at the end of the day, I want to buy something from you that has value to my life, right? That has value that I can consume. We live in a very transformed world where consumers are very informed. And whenever they're buying something, they're not just buying something just for the sake of buying. They do online reviews, they look at testimonials, right? They want something that will add tremendous value for their money. Now, let's come back to the digital marketing, because that's pretty much replacing traditional marketing. So what's your view on that? And I'm pretty sure AI is pretty much going to be doing all of the marketing,
Well,
I disagree. I don't think AI is going to do. I mean, maybe someday, but we're not
some
there.
of them, yeah. Yes.
I think
again,
people,
bots talking to bots.
Well, and I think that people they get tired of all the AI. They crave that human to human. AI can't replicate that. And maybe someday they can, but feeling like you're talking soul to soul still has value.
Yeah, we have a webinar on how AI is affecting and going to affect businesses. We've probably done the webinar 12 times, and it's changed each time, because that modality, AI, is
it's a fast-moving target.
Yeah. In fact, I have to change it again for the next time we do it. Yes, it can help you in your productivity, but it really is, if your product or service doesn't back it up, AI I think, could flame you out faster. It'll tell more people will figure out quickly how your product and or service suck, and you don't really want that. I don't want to go down the AI road too much.
Okay. I mean, there's a place for that in the future.
For online marketing, it's vital. Look, we have clients in 3 countries and several states in the U.S. Most of those that are not where we've lived, we wouldn't have had if they didn't find or have delivered to them a video that we did, or they weren't referred by someone in our local area. But if someone that, we live in Maryland now, and before that we lived in Sedona, Arizona, and before that Los Angeles. If someone that knows us on a face-to-face basis, if they refer us to somebody, that somebody's going to check us out online first. They're going to go to your website. They're going to go to your social media.
It's really rare these days that somebody would refer somebody else and they just go straight and buy it from them. They're going to go check it. Why? Why are you referring Hank instead of Sharyn? Why? right? They're going to go check it out first. They
Absolutely.
rarely just go straight to the buy button.
Which is
Wow.
why your website online marketing is really important.
Yes.
When some people quote throw up a website real fast because they didn't have time or money, so they use one of those relatively free sites as opposed to hiring someone that knows what they're doing to build it in WordPress, or if you're selling a product, Shopify maybe. But they do it in, and we're in a litigious situations, world. So I won't mention the names of any of those companies that throw up really free or cheap websites. It does make a difference.
Yeah.
The very content that you can put into your website makes a difference.
Well, and the SEO ability of that site, right? Those cheap, easy do-it-yourself sites, the SEO is to get more people to build on their platform, not more people to actually find your specific site and buy from you.
Yeah, I have a good tip if you want it. Most of y'all that are doing websites, you've seen that they have an About Us page.
Yeah.
And when we look at the About Us page for most small businesses, this is like either a one-person business where they've got a few employees. That About Us is in a third-person general talking about the business. They don't have, for example, a picture of the founder or the president of the business and there's no person there. There's no story. Why? I'm a chiropractor. What drove me into being a chiropractor? Well, there was the point. No matter what it was that got you into your business, we always ask, what did 6-year-old you want to do? And quite often it has nothing to do with what you do now.
But that journey is important, right? So, it's why we would choose you as the chiropractor versus Jane Doe next door that is also a chiropractor.
So that About Us page on your website is really vital.
Another audience wanted to know about the marketing mix, which is, I believe, it's product, pricing, promotion, and placement.
Wow. Okay. Funny you mentioned that. Also in our bootcamp, we talk about that, and that's a very old marketing model.
It doesn't mean it's not true. It's too simplistic, and it doesn't hit on the major points that are important right now.
Yeah.
Right? Those 3 points that are important are who is your ideal client, and it doesn't mean that you have to narrow it down forever, but for whatever tactic you're using, who is your ideal client, customer, referral partner for this particular message? It's this right this minute. If it's a social media post or a blog post or an ad you're running, it doesn't matter. The question is always the same. Who is the ideal target for that message? Okay, now that we know who the ideal target is, what's the message to attract that ideal target? That person, right? And then where do we put that? Where are people hanging out?
50-year-old men that are, that work outside. There's some sort of a contractor type person, tend to hang out different places than 20-year-old women, 25-year-old women who are still in school or just in their first job.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is.
Whether physically or digitally, they still hang out in different places. Right?
Yeah. So where you're placing your message and who they are, knowing who your target audience is. And it doesn't mean it won't change. We have 6 different, we call them Harriets. Long story, just know that instead of using the word avatar, because it's a hard word to say, we call them Harriets.
And it's good to have a picture of who you're actually trying to attract. So if you know, for this product, my ideal customer, I already have a customer and her name is Jane. So I'm going to call that avatar Jane, right? So now you have a picture in your mind of who Jane is and who it is you're trying to set that message for. What words am I going to use in this post, ad, whatever, that is going to resonate with Jane?
Yeah.
Interesting. So you personalize your message.
Yes.
And yes. And interesting, one of the trends that's happening again, it comes around every few years, is even being able to personalize all of your ads, which can be done targeted pixels make it easy online. It gets expensive, but personalized using the demographics and the psychographics, what's going on in their brain, what pain are you taking away? What are you solving? People will run away from pain faster than they'll run toward pleasure. And if you're taking away their pain, they'll give you that 16 digits and the expiration date.
Tell us more about your coaching consulting. Is it consulting or coaching?
It's coaching.
Coaching,
Hank,
okay.
Hank said it is a hybrid.
Okay.
From one definition. The other way to look at it is coaching is about the whole, whereas consulting usually is about a project and it's a really specific finite time. And as Hank said, we go for a year so we can see the whole annual cycle of that business.
We work for you, we think for you, we create for you, we figure it all out, and then we hand it to you.
Okay.
And we have a couple of different programs. We have a group coaching with some private time, and we also have private coaching. Guess which one is a little more of an investment, because our deliverables are a lot more. But every Monday we have a mastermind call, and any of our clients in either program are welcome to come on it. And it's kind of like office hours. We're there in the order you come in the room. What questions do you have this week? And from that, we also get to check, by the way, last Monday, you said this, how did that go? And we reality tested and see how it worked.
And a bit of accountability too.
Exactly. And Sharyn and I also have instead of you're going to that new type of event, tell you what, I'm going to write your elevator story for you. Let me do it and I'll email it to you. So within that Monday call, we kind of get our assignments for the week too. Our private coaching clients get an extra private call during the week. But those are the two programs,
Wow.
and we generally recommend somebody start with the more affordable one because it works best for us and them. And then if in a month or so they decide, I need more help and more time, okay, we'll just upscale you to the other one. That's how we work with them. Our clients have our cell phone. Well, they have Sharyn. They've got our email. We get emails every day on a client. Hey, check this ad out. What do you think? Hey, I wrote a blog. What do you think? Now, a private coaching client may say, hey, I need a blog for this. I don't have time. Can you help me out? Sure. And we'll write the blog for them. So there's a definite difference in deliverables. But most businesses, the group plus some private time works.
So how can they reach you? What's your website and email? Platforms?
Schedule some time with us. If you go to howtogettherefaster.com, it'll ask you a few questions and it'll put you into our calendar. And we ask the questions so that we can be ready for you. We want to look at your website. We want to look at what you're doing. We want to get an idea of who you are before we even have the conversation. So we don't spend any of the time, tell me about your business more. We've already done a little bit of research into you. So
nice.
And that's it. Now, our main website is just yuloffcreative.com. And we're on every social media platform with Yuloff Creative is where you'd find us.
I usually like to ask my guests to share their 3 top transferable skills and any books that you guys would recommend.
The main skill that's vital these days is emotional intelligence. Right? We talked about the AI, right? A bot talking to a bot. People are tired of having to deal with a bot. They want to talk to a person. And if you don't have that emotional intelligence,
wow.
Whether you're a business owner or whether you're an employee, it doesn't matter. That's what's vital. That's what sets you apart from just dealing with some bot.
Can I add to that?
Of course.
When you were saying that, I wrote down the word consistency because if you're not consistent and persistent in what you do, to market your business, you're not going to do well. For example, if you in the United States we call them a chamber of commerce. In Canada, they're boards of trade. If you join your board of trade, and don't show up to their monthly meetings where all the businesses gather, you probably won't get business from it. Just like Chamber of Commerce, if you don't budget to show up to their mixers and their breakfast and you don't meet other people. And if they don't know who you are, it's not going to work. So you've got to be consistent. If you wrote one blog, or when you launched your website, you had 4 blogs and you put them all up, and now I look at your website 3 years later and there are no more blogs. You're telling the search engines, all right, we have our website up. It's really just a brochure because it doesn't change. You don't have to continually come back and look for us. So your SEO doesn't work as well. So you've got to be consistent in what you're doing. If you're online, if you're on social media, hey, Sharyn, how often do I have to post?
Every day.
Oh, no, really? Can't I just do it once a week?
Sure, you can.
I want to whine.
You can. It's just not going to be as effective.
So consistency, tied to the emotional intelligence. There you go. Those are some skills that are important. Go back. Let's go way back. There are hundreds and hundreds of PMA, personal mental attitude books, where people will write, how to get over this skill and this skill. When you go way back, one of the first books, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, 1927. He was paid to write a book and interview 500 of the most successful people in the world. And from that, he came up with 13 tenets, 13 basic laws, rules that most of them were using. Consistency, by the way, is one of them. Masterminding is another. And he found that if with all of these people that are this successful are all doing these things, this is one of the keys. Now, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of books that have taken one of those 13 rules and written more about it. Zig Ziglar and Dennis Wheatfield have entire careers on it. The mind of man can conceive and achieve, conceive and believe it can achieve. That one rule has spawned thousands of other books. So the first one, Think and Grow Rich, it's there. An easy read. Mine's always on my desk, and it's got highlights. Your turn. Now you get to sell a book.
I'm really torn between the two. I think the one that first came to mind is the one thing. Often our clients are overwhelmed. They're overthinking about what. There's so many options, right? There's of whatever it is. There's so many things I could be doing right now. There's so many different people trying to get my attention to market this or advertise here, whatever, right? There's the one thing. What's the one thing that if you did the one thing, it would make everything else either easier or unnecessary?
But how can you decide on the one thing, Sharyn?
Well, because there is a one thing that will, it has to be, the rest of it has to come into play. There is a one thing that will make either everything else easy or unnecessary.
I was done for the power.
If it doesn't make things easier or unnecessary, then it's not the one thing.
Yes.
If you knew your power was going to go out in 1 hour, all right, what's the one thing you've got to get done like right now?
Well, that's a different way of looking at the one thing. That's not the book.
I have to get this invoicing out. Okay, I'm going to get my invoicing out. Okay, I have to get this blog post, or I promised I would get a pricing to this prospect. Or what is that one thing
that you absolutely positively must get done?
Yep. Then when you get it done, stand up, walk around your office, go outside, take a breath, do something, then come back. All right, what's the one thing again? For the third book, we've written 8 of them. And the third book is going to be, we're going to give any of y'all that are watching, either live or replay, we're going to give you one of our books for free.
Awesome.
If you look up our last name, Yuloff, Yuloff, on Amazon, it's on Amazon. You'll see the Marketing Checklist 4, which is your guide for overwhelmed and overthinking entrepreneurs. Employees are a challenge. We have a human resources book. If marketing is a challenge, we've got a couple of different marketing books.
Wow.
If you're in business with someone else, grab Partners in Everything from us.
Wow.
It's your couple's guide to running a successful business without ruining your life. Here's why I'm mentioning this one last. The universe has told us we need to come up with a second edition of this book.
Wow.
Because we haven't cornered the market on how to work together, successfully.
It works for us.
Yeah, but it doesn't work for others. We're looking to interview other people that work together. You can be a couple. You can be just two people that are in business together. We're looking to interview people for the book. So if you reach out to us and say, hey, I want to get interviewed in your partner's book, we'll send you the stuff, and it's free to be interviewed.
Wow.
So there, you get one of our books and two other books.
How many books you guys have written so far? 13 books, you said?
We have 8 of them.
8 of them. Okay.
We have a couple of more that are in process.
Okay.
So we have the second edition of Partners. We have another one. It's going to be called The Physics of Marketing, where we talk about the physical laws of the universe. Actually, we have a physicist that's doing that part. And then we show you how that relates to marketing.
Wow.
Example, a body in motion will stay in motion unless acted upon by an outside force. Well, if your marketing sucks, it's going to continue to suck unless you do something. And here's some suggestions on what you should do. See, the marketing part of this book is so much easier than the physics part.
Wow.
So, but that's another. I want to add something.
Yes.
If you want more than one of our books, here's what you have to do.
Yes.
You have to watch another episode of BetterTalks.
At least
one. And you have to give us a 2 or 3 sentence book report on what you learned from that episode. And if you give us one of those, you can ask for a second book. If you watch 2 more episodes and give us the synopsis of what you learned, you get a third book.
Wow.
All right? So
Thanks.
if you go to Amazon and you see our name and you can't decide which one you want, all you have to do is watch more episodes of BetterTalks. It's good for you anyway. It's good for your business. And then we'll send you another book.
Thank you guys. Really appreciate that.
You betcha.
Gladly.
Pump up those numbers, baby.
Thank you guys.